So I'm going to start with sort of a mini presentation, and then I'm going to have more like a proper demo. So originally, my desire was to have the full installation on site at the for EVA, so that people could go in and try it out and so on, but that's not possible. So what I've tried to do, I was going to don a headset and screencast, but it's so unreliable. It could, you know, if I wanted to do that, it just might not work when I wanted to do that. So I thought I've got to find a way to make this work in a way that's controllable. So I'm going to just show you some still images and what the project is about, and then I'm going to show you some little video captures that I've done of actually doing the helping someone into the experience. So Into Her is, as I say here, an intimate, my screen is showing that Zoom, which is annoying me. I'm not sure how to move it out of the way. Okay, anyway, it's an intimate haptic experience that takes people inside the female body and focusing on post-reproductive diseases that are not usually talked about, polyps, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, and this kind of thing that I and my female family and friends have gone through, and you know, a large number of women do go through from their, from starting at any time, but often more in the late 30s, 40s. And I got inspiration from some interesting artists who've been doing related work, installation work, but not adding the VR dimension. I also took the inspiration from something that started in the US, I don't know when, but this idea of called the Red Tent Movement, and it's about art, women, older women bringing younger women into some kind of gathering to help them understand their bodies, and to particularly focused around menstruation and all the things that come with that. Sometimes it's about childbearing, but because there's so little information out there in the world, or there's a lot of information, but not of all of it reliable, a lot of women take it upon themselves to sort of help usher in younger generations into what's going to happen to them. And the Red Tent Movement is part of that. I worked with mostly, I used to say an all-women team, but near the end of the development, we had to bring in a few lovely men into our team who are not listed here, but I'm happy to talk about them. And also they're listed in the credits of the VR experience. Primarily, I worked with Maf'j Alverez, who's also a brilliant artist in her own right, particularly now in VR, Bushra, Burge, Austen, who's at the moment living in Berlin. So we had to do this weird thing using GitHub, Zoom, all kinds of different online tools to make this work. And it's inspired by my own brush with ovarian cancer now 5 years ago, and I'm completely clean and clear. But I was a really unique case, very rare form. And why that was important is that I couldn't find any information that was reliable, and the doctors wouldn't give me any information unless I knew the right questions, and I didn't know the right questions. So I wanted to explore this topic a little bit more. Some of the themes of the project are about identity. What does it mean to be a woman? What happens when you lose some of your body parts? Does that change your identity? And that kind of concern about what does it mean if I'm losing parts of myself, but also some of the issues around lack of information and not knowing, feeling powerless. I interviewed a lot of women and asked them to tell their stories, and I used some of those stories. A lot of them were quite long because they were quite, you know, dramatic and traumatic stories, so that people had a lot to say, which I think this gave them a voice, and I'd like to keep, you know, collecting some of those stories. I wanted to add something that I've been I've been involved in wearable tech on some level, more from an artistic point of view. So I wanted to add a haptic dimension. I didn't want it only to be in VR. I wanted it to have some kind of physical, corporeal kind of connection. And so initially I had all these different things. If you see on the right, I had all these different things on the breath sensor. I wanted a lot of different things. In the end, we decided just to use vibe motors situated on the lower abdomen in this corset that would, every time a VR story would happen, it would trigger a different pattern and intensity in the vibe motors to sort of implicate this is where this happens or happens sort of in this location in your body, and probably very informative to men. I know Terry has seen it and participated when I was in Folkestone last week, so he can tell you what it's like for a man. Bushra Burge designed this beautiful haptic garment, and it was kind of using some of the imagery from the tilt brush work that we had done, and she printed it on beautiful fabric and did some really lovely work. See here some of the imagery that was designed by one of my former students, Sarah Büttner, and she just took to tilt brush like crazy. Actually, I think it was going to see James and so on at Ravensbourne, and getting really excited about tilt brush. So she made some beautiful work, and so I really wanted to bring her into the project. And so I also wanted to have a physical experience, so people go inside, a physical space that was like a womb, that's intimate, small, but you could have a couple of people together if need be. And so I had this bespoke sort of bouncy castle style tent. I was going to go for a Buckminster Fuller or something else that's really a nice tent, but it didn't have that squishy, soft kind of this is a body-ish quality. And so I went for this style air tent. This is what it was initially thought of as the whole experience, and it's sort of like that now. So I'm just breezing through these images just so you can get a sense of that, and then I'll walk you through some more. And so I just I did a virtual version of the trailer, not the full project, as part of the Art in Flux Reclaimed virtual exhibition, which I didn't put in these slides, but relaunched recently as part of the Kensington and Chelsea Art Fair. So it was online for a bit. Just came back from the Brewery Tap from the 22nd of June to July, what was it, the 4th in Folkestone, which was really great. It wasn't super busy, but it was a good experience for me. I will be taking the project to Sheffield, and again, I think I got the wrong slides for this one. I'm taking it to Sheffield now because they've had lots of COVID delays in September till October. And what's not on this slide is I'm also going to be part of Brighton Digital with a Fusebox, where we've been developing the project for the last year, but particularly in the last few months. And then possibly going to Dundee for Neon Festival. So I'm trying to take it different places in the UK, and also possibly in Barcelona, where I have a contact as well. So I'm going to stop these slides and I'm going to stop sharing this. And I had planned to have a proper full video ready for today, but things have conspired against me. So I have instead I do have a full video, but it hasn't been exported to QuickTime. So I'm literally going to share with you, hold on a second, just put myself out. I'm going to share with you my Premiere Pro file instead. And we're going to hope that it works. So let me share that. And what I've done here is I've kind of cobbled together some images, our little logo, and some video of me showing someone into the tent in Folkestone and putting on the corset and going through it's like a ritual. It's not just watching VR. And I'm not even going to show you very much of the VR. I'm going to show you the trailer, because I want you eventually to come either to Brighton Digital or somewhere to see it, because I feel like it's not a virtual piece that I'm just going to distribute online. I may eventually do that, but without the corset, without the as my partners called it, the sitting womb, you don't get the full experience. It's only a third of the experience. So I'm going to play this. And if we go over time, Sean, just cut me off. So these first are just some images from Folkestone and where it was and some of the soundtrack underneath. It's a sort of a work in progress video. If you haven't been to Folkestone, you absolutely should go. So these are the corsets all laid out, ready to go. Plus I had to do a lot of COVID risk assessment stuff for UCA, because the brewery tap is a UCA facility gallery. So I had sprays and sanitizer and face masks for the VR headset. And you can see inside, I had to prepare everything before every visitor comes, make sure that the headset was connected to the network so it could connect to the corset.
Is I'm going to put an electronic corset on you and then vibrate based on some sounds that happen when you're watching experiencing the digital project. And so this will just cover your lower we'll tie that in the back, and then you'll get to have the experience of the areas unfolding where you experience certain kinds of diseases. So here's one of the corsets, and I'm going to ask you to hold the edges of it. In between each person, I put them in a UV cleaner in the back, and so the electronics inside that. So even though cover should be hopefully all the germs will be gone. Now, if you just adjust it so it's quite low, so just above the pubic bone, and is it tight enough? Okay. Just hold on to it. Is that right? Okay. So I'm going to ask you to crawl in through this tunnel. So the glasses that breathe are start again. Get comfortable. And your glasses and the headset goggles may steam up. So what I suggest is once you're ready and okay to go, you will probably need to take off your mask. I will be out of the room, and in between people I spray with that lovely smell, which is actually a disinfectant. And because otherwise you won't see it. We also put these in the UV cleaner as well.
See, I had to do a lot of COVID stuff, and he's the boss. He's the one who told me I had to do all this stuff. So I had to tell him all the things I had done for it.
You should be able to see the title screen. What you want to do is adjust the top to make sure it fits properly. And when it fits properly, it's all the way down.
Yeah.
To put these are little ear flaps to tunnel the sound.
Yeah.
So you want to put it on like that.
Yeah.
And the last thing to know is this adjustment here.
Okay. Yeah.
So you might want to check that. If it's blurry, you need to adjust it. So I'm asking you to do that first. Hold there. Just make sure you should be able to see some words.
This was a big part of the whole experience, just getting people comfortable with what they were seeing and what they were going to do.
Here in the middle and slightly further, yeah, just if I tilt my head up, it's okay.
Well, you need this to be straight. So is that better?
Yes.
Okay, then is it tight enough?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you see what the words say?
Yes, in to explore the experience, pull the trigger before.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the controller. It's in your left hand only. The trigger is here. Yeah, you've got it. And so can you pull the trigger?
Yeah, slowly.
Okay. So then once you're inside, you can move this thing back and forth to move around.
Oh, okay.
But that just turns you.
Yeah.
You will hear a story start.
It's starting.
Okay, so you can't move when the story started, so I'll leave you.
So it's a little trailer now. This is what they see, or part of it is what they see.
It's good to get that kind of sense of space.
Yeah, the energy should go around.
Oh, I think the
It's just to have, I mean, a bespoke, it's kind of made by the same kind of people that down to households.
Okay.
But they got the specs for me and they're like, okay, that's fun.
So is it floated?
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just put extra ornaments on it, you know.
That's my house.
Okay. So let me get you on down here. I'm sorry that this didn't work, but that's not all. Yeah, we have other bits and bobs if you want them. And I've almost set it up so people wanted to record their own stories. Do that, and we can later on I'll add some stories.
Great.
So yeah.
I think it's magical, it's informative, it's really surprising, all these different veils and all these graphic representations. I think the immersion is kind of poetic, it's a soundscape, but it's also this documentary element to it. Yeah, it's a really strong work, really strong work.
Well, I love the tent because it really added to the experience of being immersed. I felt very safe in there. Sometimes I don't feel safe when I go into VR because I think I might knock something over or trip over. And I felt very safe in that environment. I felt very comfortable in the seat. Yeah, I thought it was great.
So the content was actually enlightening. It's definitely are topics I'm not used to think about. I had no idea that women are going through this kind of odysseys in their daily life between 30s and 45 or 50s. I like the different voices and the fact that apart from who is not anymore with us, we actually use original voices, I guess.
It was really interesting, really thorough, and I think that it addresses an issue that is not well known, and I think that many more women in different age ranges should be aware of this. And I think that there is some sort of taboo and a stigma within society, so we definitely need to share this. I think it could be a great educational tool, and I would encourage people of all ages, especially if they are women, but also if they are fathers, brothers, or uncles, to watch this and inform their relatives.
Being inside the vagina was very interesting. It was really soothing, really calming. Actually, since we're at the tail end of the pandemic, it's a perfect place to go. The visuals were absolutely stunning. I mean, it's something unexpected. You're going along this visceral journey, navigating intimate stories about people's experiences with their own health when it comes to women's health. But the problem is with women's health, it's navigated mostly by external forces and very little by the women's intuitive experiences. Our stories are not being listened to. So when you get to the end of this particular piece is that, you know, it is very, very simple, just listen.
Of course, it felt really supportive and I felt safe going in and really comfortable, but really, really great stories. Really nice to hear the women's voices and different individuals' stories. Very comforting feeling being inside, and all the visuals, it seemed to match really well, and it just felt really cozy. So coming out, I feel quite kind of like I've been hugged, a bit nourished from being inside. It feels really quite good. Yeah, but it's really like you do feel immersed in it. You feel within. But so familiar because being a woman, and hearing the stories and being inside, it really feels really familiar and warm and inviting. I feel quite
So, sorry, like I said, this video is a bit of a work in progress. So what I didn't do, or what didn't seem to show, is the actual trailer. So I have a minute of a trailer that I can show you now, if you're still with me. And I will share that now. There we go. And it's literally from a walkthrough, so it's like being inside the headset. Hopefully you'll get the idea, but I've edited out too much of the stories. I'm really trying to keep it a bit of a mystery unless you actually go to it and see it for yourself. Welcome to the Into Her project. The experience created here is meant to introduce you to phenomena that is experienced by a great number of women in their late 30s, sometimes earlier, and in their 40s, and sometimes after menopause, even into their 50s and 60s. Every day and often misdiagnosed or even ignored, and sometimes leading to surgeries or death. The female body and its reproductive system are wondrous, giving life to other humans, and also providing pleasure, and so much more along the way. As Natalie Angier, the author of some of the stories shared here, says in the introduction of her book Woman, the female body deserves a Dionysian respect, a state of body not easily won. For the female body has been abominably regarded over the centuries. It has been made too much of or utterly ignored. It has been conceived as a second sex, the first draft, the faulty sex, the default sex, the consolation prize, the succubus, the male interrupts. We are lewd, prim, bestial, ethereal. We have borne more illegitimate metaphors than we have unwanted embryos. Woman, the bowl, the urn, the cave, the musty jungle. We are the dark mysterium. We are the hidden folds and primal wisdom. As such, this is a journey into the dark mysterium for a start to understanding the mystery, the unknown experiences, the unnameable sensations, the pain and misunderstandings, to find a language or a pathway to knowing more about things that happen inside us. So it's also a bit of a work in progress, this trailer. So that's the project. Like I said, if it was on site, I would be bringing you in and trying it out with you and seeing what you think. And the course that now works, we had to trade out some of the electronics and get everything to work, but it does work. I can see Terry's here. He can tell you what he had, what his experience was, and what he felt. So yeah, that's it.
Yes, Camille, you're absolutely right. An extraordinary experience for a man, as I